array in Excel and how to set it, indirect, SUMPRODUCT, conditional SUMPRODUCT, and SUMIFS are practically explained in this video. Hello, this is Zinat and I'm so delighted for talking about some very useful functions in Excel, helping us to be more efficient, solve problems, and impress our teams. We are going to use one-dimensional arrays as well as constant references and fill a pro dashboard for sales calculations. Please stay with me for next 18 minutes and let's explore some cool features in Excel. You are working in a company having different products. They ship the product to different country for one customer. You are given a list of invoices containing the sales amount for each product and the country of sales. Clearly, each country has own currency, so sales prices are in local currencies. You are asked to create a sales summary report as well as sales breakdown for each product and sales region. Literally, your report must be presented in one currency, the main currency. In this tutorial, the main currency is pound sterling. We would explore several technical functions in this tutorial. This includes first, understanding array and name range, or variables, references, etc. Second, indirect function and how to get its benefit for the business case we are dealing with. Third, SUMPRODUCT and conditional SUMPRODUCT. Former one exists in Excel as a function, but later one has a secret point for Excel Pro users, and we try to address it here. Fourth, some minor exploration will be made on filter, chart, and chart setting at the end. Okay, let's begin with terminology and definitions. First and foremost, a list and array. If you are familiar with Python, C#, C++, JavaScript, or other programming languages, you might have heard about list or array. If you have not heard, don't worry, because I will talk about it a bit here. Array is a list of values separated with comma in different programming languages. It can contain numbers or text, which we would call them a string. In Excel, arrays are defined in the same way we define in programming language, but we separate values by semicolon. For example, vname would be the array name or reference name, and it contains price lists in different currencies. First type of reference would be simple references. For example, single variables or constant variables. Please look at the table. We have a currency table contain conversion rate to GBP. If we want to use USD in our workbook and whenever it is called, we look for its conversion rate, which is 1.21. Then we should define USD as a reference. Similarly, we may want to use Euro and 1.13 would be its substitute. Now the question is, how can we make the link between currencies and conversion rate? The answer is using defined names. Let's do it in Excel. Here is our exchange rate and we want to set GBP to 1, USD to 1.21, ZAR to 20.051, BRL to 6.23, and finally AED to 4.43. Firstly, we select all currencies and conversion rates. Then go to Formulas tab in the top menu and in Define Name section, click on Create from Selection. Okay, now we choose left column as names for values. If we want to look at all lists of variables, we can just click on Name Manager. Let's do that. Here we go. We have a list of defined constant variables. For example, AED is 4.43, so on and so forth. Now we are going to define an array and series of arrays according to the given tables. For example, we have a table and we want to set all columns of conversion rate to an array name. For example, GBP underscore C-rate. It would contain 1, 1.21, so on and so forth. Now it's time to look at a practical example. We are given this table showing invoice dates and sales prices in each invoice according to the country and local currencies. This table contains customer table on top left corner, showing customer details fetched from our database. There is an assessment period for this sales calculation. This table shows all of our products. We have two product batch or parents, milk and yogurt. Each has child, and those children have other children. We call the last row as subproducts. For example, Greek yogurt is a children of Greek yogurt, or apple yogurt is a children of fruit yogurt, and so on and so forth. In another side of this dashboard, we have sales summary report, and we should compilate this and pass it to our line manager, for example, head of sales. It shows the sales amount for each product category. Please note that product batch is not the aim of our assessment. In this table, we have the currency for each invoice, and we expect that exchange rate is transformed from the reference list to this column here. First, let's go to Excel and define list of arrays, which will help us to create an advanced processing of data and keep our dashboard clean and pro. Let's do it in Excel now. Okay, we have this table and we want to set all columns as separated array. We firstly select all data in the table, including headers. Then we look for create from selection from defined names. Okay, here we select top row only. It means that name of each array comes from top row. Additionally, we do the same for exchange rate, as we may need it again in the future. That's it. Let's check them in Name Manager. Okay, checking the Greek yogurt. First value is 10,250.23 pound, and second value is 16,500.32 euros, and third value is null. Similarly, we can check low-fat milk. Okay, we have made the base or foundation for our system, and we want to make some practical changes for sales summary report. If you remember, I said that we need to bring the exchange rate in this table, but the question is how? Let's explore the indirect function. Syntax for indirect is like this. We insert the reference like GBP as a text string, and then indirect calls the reference and set its value, which is 1. For example, as I have shown in the table. Let's do it practically in Excel. We write indirect function in this cell and set the value to the next cell, GBP, and press Ctrl plus Enter. Great! Let's check it with the exchange rate table. Next useful function is SUMPRODUCT. The syntax for this function is as shown. We just call array names and we expect that sum of product of all mentioned arrays are calculated. Clearly, their size must be the same. Let's go back to our example. We are asked to calculate the total sales of Greek yogurt in GBP. Literally, this should be calculated by multiplying two columns of Greek yogurt and exchange rate, and then sum of those columns is obtained. In other means, sum of product of Greek yogurt and X rate is what we are looking for. Hence, we would use sum product of Greek yogurt, comma, X rate. Let's do it in Excel. We are going to fill the summary report. At first, on the cell in front of Greek yogurt, we write sum product. Then we write Greek yogurt with underscore in the middle as the name array. Then comma. And finally, X rate as another name array that was defined before. Then press Ctrl Enter. Let's check fruit yogurt, which I wrote it before. Similarly, plant-based milk. But animal-based milk has a secret, and I would like to ask you to write it in the comment below. Unlike SUMPRODUCT, which exists in Excel, conditional SUMPRODUCT does not exist, and we want to explore its trick and use it extensively. Here we have our table having sales prices and invoice infos. We are asked to calculate total sales of fat-free milk in Asia in GBP. This means that we need to deal with 3 columns and 2 rows in this table. The SUMPRODUCT function cannot handle this unless we create another column. Let's say condition, in which we set binary values of 0 and 1. 1 would be set when the condition of our interest is true. For example, when region is Asia, then the condition value would be 1. As a result, we would use sum product of condition, comma, fat-free milk, comma, X rate. This method is not efficient at all because we need to create another column and we make our dashboard messy and integrate not essential values there. On the other hand, it would not be generalized. Instead, we use sum product of a special array, fat-free milk and X rate. This special array will create a virtual array depending on the condition, and it is filled with invisible 0 and 1. This double minus sign does it for us. The rest is just criteria. Let's do it in Excel. Let's click on the cell in front of UK and create the breakdown of sales by regions. Let's write the sum product function. First array will be the conditional array that I explained. We write it with double minus sign and then the criteria. Then we write each product. Finally, we mention the X rate as the third array. Okay, great. Let's expand it to other regions. Great! Total sales is now correctly set. SUMIFS is another useful function in Excel. Its benefits would be less than some products for us in this tutorial, but it is worth exploring. Its syntax, as shown, require an array of sum range and criteria range, another array, and then criteria for that range. Clearly, we have multiple criteria range and criteria. Let's look at our table again. We have been asked to calculate the total sales of apple yogurt in Europe in GBP. As I explained before, we can use conditional sum product. To use SUMIFS, we need to exclude X rate and only consider one column for sum range. Then we consider exchange rate indirectly into the calculation. Hence, we will have SUMIFS of apple yogurt for criteria range of regions and criteria of Europe only. Then we multiply this by euro, which we defined as a variable at the beginning. The first part is total sales in euro. Let's do it in Excel now. Let's check this table. We want to find the total sales broken down by region and type of product. Here I'm going to use SUMIFS, but as I said, conditional sum product might be the best choice, and I have already used conditional sum product. Let's do it for Europe region and Greek yogurt. Okay, everything looks good. Let's look at our dashboard. Here we have full summary of sales broken down by products and regions. Let's compare the total sales from sales summary and summary by regions. Finally, I usually print the references in my workbook. This helps me to quickly pick up the region and what it refers to. Let me show you how I do it. We click on a cell and then click on Using Formula in Define Names. Have a play around with all of these functions and see how you can work with your workbook and really impress your team.